One of my associates had an opportunity to talk to a professional while I wasn't here. The associate I'm talking about is a professional himself and knows a lot of technology about this type of situation. We're talking transmissions, we're talking T56 6-speeds, we're talking Camaro 67 models, we're talking 373 gear ratio, 410 horsepower ZZ6 engines. So one of my associates, I think I said that, we had the opportunity to let him call around to some transmission professional shops and do what he had to do to get answers about this Super Magnum 6-speed transmission setup. And when you hear what the professional says, now we're talking about, I believe he said, what did he say? This was Outlaw Performance. Let me go ahead and Google that and see what we got. L-A-W, Outlaw Performance Transmissions. Okay, over in Phoenix, Arizona, located on West Roma Avenue, wherever that is. So my associate called this guy named Tony that owns this place of business, and he put his 2 cents in what he thinks about the Magnum 6-speed transmission. So let's go ahead and get with that conversation with my associate. And you might think this is a comedy act and that this is a ridiculous situation, but it's not. It's actually a true, serious compromisation of compatibility and what's going on. So let's get with the professional. The guy's name's Tony from Chicago, lives in Phoenix, and see what he has to say. Being a small family business owner of America, not the quote-unquote large corporation that's going to sell you anything that you want to hear, but just an average Joe guy like my friend Pete, named Tony, that owns a company called Outlaw Performance Transmissions in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to go ahead and put his information in the description below if you want to contact him. He'll be glad to talk to you. If you need any type of high-performance transmission work, I'm sure he can do that too. But I did filter the conversation. I didn't want to put misleading information on here. So let's go ahead and get with Tony and my associate and see what they found out. As we're talking transmissions here, we're talking Camaros, we're talking diabolical messes. This video should actually be on my other YouTube channel, SWRNC / my friend Pete. But we decided, since we're running this extravaganza of a playlist and almost possibly a day-by-day situation, we're going to go ahead and put it on this channel, and then the documentary that I'm making on this particular situation is going to be on YouTube channel My Friend Pete. So let's go ahead and get with my associate, my professional opinion associate that I trust with all my heart to get the right, correct answers that I need to do this job properly, as he talks to another professional in the United States named Tony at Outlaw Performance Transmissions, phone number 602-206-7095, and see what they came up with on this outer space, diabolical built, out of the world transmission that's supposed to be the best thing in the whole wide world to use in your vehicle. Here we go. My associate with Tony, the Outlaw Performance Transmission owner in Phoenix, Arizona.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
You've contacted Jerry's Garage. We are in the shop or on the line with another customer. Leave us a message. Thanks.
Son of a bitch. Whoa, Darren, we're trying to help out my friend Pete. We're trying to get some information on this transmission for my friend Pete. Is what the hell y'all doing out there? I'm calling around the transmission shops. I'm trying to get some action on this Magnum 6-speed transmission. It's a piece of shit, people. It's a piece of shit. It's total junk is what it is. I'm trying to call some transmission shops, trying to call around and get some questions answered about the pile of shit to see what we can do about it. My opinion is he should have put a granny gear 4-speed in that cocksucker and just started doing what he had to do. But he wants this fancy bullshit stuff that doesn't make any sense and spending millions of dollars for nothing. Let's give another transmission shop a call and see what we can find out. Is all we can do. You know what I'm saying. Hello? Yeah, is this a transmission shop?
Yes, sir, Outlaw.
Outlaw Transmission Shop, where are you located, buddy? Hello?
I built out of my home, guy.
You're out of your house. What the? Are you a 2-car garage or what?
Oh, I got everything I need.
Magnum 6-speed. We're talking.
All I do is hot rods, street rods. I don't do, general.
Okay. Can I talk to you for a minute? I hear a lot of background noise. You got birds back there? You got some parakeets? What's going on?
Yeah, I got 4 kids over here. Like I said, I built out of my home. It's a business, and it's a home, too, so.
Let me ask you a question, buddy.
You bet.
What's going on with that Super Magnum 6-speed T56 job?
The T56 6-speed transmission is just a 4-speed with 2 overdrives. It's the same as the 5.
I'm having a lot of problems with it, partner. Who am I talking to here?
I'm the technician. What kind of problems you having?
What's your name, buddy?
My name's Tony.
Okay, Tony, you say you're in Arizona.
Yes, I am in Phoenix.
You sound like you're from New York.
There's no need to be insulting.
Are you from New Jersey, or where are you from, buddy?
Oh, no, I'm Chicano, Mexican-American.
Let me ask you a question. What's going on with this Super Magnum T56 6-speed transmission? Why the hell is it so hard to hook up to a 350 engine, buddy?
It's not. If you call TransAdapt, they have everything you need.
But I'm having problems with it, Tony. I got a ZZ6. Let me tell you what I got here. Can I talk for a minute?
You bet.
I got a ZZ6 Chevrolet small block. It's got fast burn heads carburetor job. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I got a 67 Chevelle myself.
This is a 67 Camaro. It's got the wing windows. I got the wing windows on it. So I get this engine and buy it off Jake's. They conned me into buying this Super Magnum NASA oriented space age transmission that I don't need. I wanted a TKX.
A TKO?
TKX.
Yeah, that's a great truck. That's just a 5-speed.
Exactly, Tony. Now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
I said, listen to me here, please. Let me talk.
All right, then.
I tell the guy, look, I don't need a T56 Super Magnum 6-speed job. He says it'll bolt right up to it. Buy this, do that, get this, and it's going to work beautiful. What's going on with this thing, Tony?
Well, if you already have a T50, what do you got right now? The T56?
I got the Magnum 6-speed job, yeah, Super Magnum.
If you already have it, I would just build that right, and then your problem is solved.
What do I got to do, Tony, to make this thing work with this old-school Chevrolet block engine with the one-piece seal crankshaft? What do I got to do?
Google TransAdapt. That's the name of the shop, the place that makes the adapters. TransAdapt.
Okay. So it's an adapter I got to use, because he said this was an LS job. He says it's an LS crankshaft situation, and that's what I got, and he's full of shit. That's what happens when you talk to these people on the phone, Tony.
Do you talk to TransAdapt?
No, I talk to Jake's Automotive.
Oh, no.
When you talk to these people, they tell you whatever the hell you want to hear. just to buy their bullshit, Tony.
Yeah, well, I don't know anybody that does that, like transit.
Have you ever put one? You said you're Outlaw High Performance. That's why I called you.
I'm putting Chevy transmissions behind Ford motors. I can do anything.
That's what I'm talking about, Tony. That's what I'm saying right there. You took the words out of my mouth. What are we going to do? They're telling me I got to dial in the bell housing. What the hell is that?
I don't know what that is. You're right. Somebody's bullshitting.
Hold up. Said I got to dial the bell. I've watched 37 videos on this that I have to dial the bell housing in because the input shaft has a roller bearing on it that's got zero tolerance play on this transmission, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know what that means to dial in the transmission. I mean the bell housing. It actually has
says I gotta put on this. To get it into reverse, I got to add on this $200 lockout box that I gotta buy, that I gotta hook up to this electronic box, or I won't be able to put this thing in. I tried to put it in reverse, and it started burning the clutch up, Tony.
It bound up?
It bound up on me. It started burning up and smoking like a cigar.
Wow, sounds like you got a lot of problems there.
That's what I'm talking about. This Magnum T56 transmission's a pile of shit, Tony.
But it looks like somebody built it for racing and for safety things. You can't go into reverse without a solenoid being activated or something like that.
That's basically what these Super Magnums, every one of them's got to have one, not just some race car shit. I'm not racing this car. I'm taking it to the car shows, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to just avoid all the problems, that T56 you were talking about, that's a pretty good transmission.
Okay, I was talking about a TKX.
Yeah, the TKO, the TKX.
But the problem is, Tony, I've already spent $6,000 on this transmission.
Well, maybe you can have somebody mod. Where are you at?
I'm over here in Utah.
Utah?
That's right. I'm over here in John Wayne country, Tony. That's over here, over by Arizona borderline. Of Four Corners.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Tony, what am I going to do?
I don't know what I can do for you from way over here. If you were down the street, I'd say bring it over. I'll show you what to do. But But
I got this bell housing, and they say dial that, and then you got to use a spacer plate because the input shaft is made for an LS crankshaft, not an old school Chevy crankshaft.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the automatics when I go from the LS to the 350 motors.
You're talking 4L60Es and the 4L80s.
Yeah, it takes different adapters and stuff.
That's what I'm talking about, Tony.
I do them all.
You do them all. You do everything. You're an all-around guy. I tell you how.
Yeah, well, that's what we specialize. We specialize putting these.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on. You're saying we. Who is we?
We specialize putting them into older cars.
But who is we, Tony? Who is you said?
My son, I got a cousin. There's four of us out here.
Okay. Because when I say we, see, that's the difference between you and me. When I say we, I'm talking about me, myself, and I. I'm talking about me, myself, and I when you hear the word we over here. But what I'm trying to say, Tony, let me talk for a second. What I'm trying to say is, are you sure you know what you're talking about on this Super Magnum T56 transmission?
Yeah, it looked like somebody tweaked it,
But it's brand new out of the crate. It's a great brand new Tremec transmission. Nobody's tweaked or done anything to it. $6,000, Tony.
I don't know what's involved, but if that's locked up for reverse, all you got to do is defeat it some kind of way. It can't be that hard to defeat it. It's just a solenoid that activates and deactivates.
Well, you can do that. You can get a relay switch and wire it up into that solenoid, and then have your click it on into the brake wire. When you hit the brake, that'll work.
Yeah.
What's going on, Tony? Let me tell you this, buddy. Let me talk. When you got the clutch in, hydraulic, of course, you ever heard of American Powertrain?
Yeah.
What are you thinking of them guys?
I don't never use them, but I heard of them.
I got all their shit on my car, Tony. I spent a lot of money with them. Okay? Did you hear the word shit? Did you hear that word?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not too happy with this stuff, huh?
No, I'm not. No, hell no. I got all their crap on my car. You barely let the clutch out, not even a 1/16 of a 32nd of an eighth of an inch, and the son of a bitch wants to take off on you, Tony.
Yeah, who installed all that stuff?
I did, Tony.
You gotta know what you're doing too, you know.
You know, that's really amazing. I'm 76 years old. I've had a shop for 54 years, speed shop.
Okay. So
I call Outlaw Performance Transmission. I thought I was calling a professional. Now you're cutting me down saying that I'm not the professional, Tony.
Well, I don't know.
Why are you doing that? I didn't say anything about you working out of your home garage.
Well, I'm retired and
I got a 4,000 square foot shop over here. I got cars from Australia. And I call you up for some professional advice. And you're telling me you're out of a garage at home. And now you're telling me I need to get a professional. All I wanted was a little professional transmission advice from you.
I'm trying to give you the best advice I can. I just need to know what your skills are. I know how good you're not.
I'm telling you, I know what I'm doing over here. This Super Magnum. Even you just said, you yourself just said, I don't know what dialing a transmission is. You just said that, Tony.
No, you said dialing in a bell housing.
Exactly, the bell housing. Dialing it in to get the less than 0.5 thousandths diameters that we need for this roller bearing not to bind up. That's what I said, and you said you've never heard of that, Tony.
Now, you might be talking about an aftermarket bell housing that you have to center or something. But if the Chevy, all the bell housings, the motors, they have a guide pin on them.
What you're saying, Tony, let's get this straight. What you're saying, if you use General Motors factory original parts that goes with the factory transmission and factory engine, everything bolts together and you don't have to do nothing. That's what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Exactly. But when you're working with an old school Chevy engine, circa 55 through 86, that's got the one-piece crankshaft, one-piece seal crankshaft, and then you take a Y2K compatible transmission that goes to an LS job crankshaft, you got to modify it, Tony.
No, you don't have to modify it.
Yes, you got to have the parts to make everything work properly. And one of those situations is, I'm going to go ahead and school you a little bit, is you got to dial in the bell housing to get less than 0.5 thousandths clearance on the center job on the input shaft. If you don't, the roller bearing on that transmission has zero tolerance, Tony, and it's going to bind up and you're not going to be able to drive the car, Tony.
Now, you're talking about dialing in the depth of the transmission.
I'm talking about dialing in the rotation and the center force of the crankshaft to the input shaft. I'm not talking about taking an 1/8 inch spacer and pulling the transmission back so the pilot shaft doesn't bind up on the pilot bearing. We already know that, Tony.
All right.
Now listen, what I'm trying to say here is this transmission's a pile of shit. The TKX is the way to go, Tony.
Well, that's...
You being the professional, just said it yourself. You just said that when I mentioned TKX, you said yes. Bolt in, get her done, do it right situation. That's what you said, Tony. When I mentioned Super Magnum 6-speed, we started getting a little bit of sideways on the action. Now, I'm going to ask your professional opinion here. I want your professional. Would you use a TKX transmission 5-speed, 4-speed overdrive, or would you go with this Super Magnum 6-speed diabolical NASA space age bullshit? What would you do, Tony, now that you talk to me about it?
Hey, how does that Magnum fit under that little chassis, under that Camaro chassis?
It fits okay, Tony. It fits great. If you got the right stuff.
Yeah, well, if you want to do that...
This is the situation, Tony. This is the deal. Let me explain it to you, Tony. You got to buy a top plate, shifter plate for it. There's another $280. You got to buy the lockout electronic buy. That's another $200. You got to buy the race car bell housing, that's another $1,000. You got to buy all the clutch works and all the spacers and specialty parts. That's another $1,500. By the time you're done putting this pile of shit in your car, you spend $10,000 on a transmission so you can have a 6-speed. And then let's go ahead and talk about this, Tony. Let's talk about the 373 gear ratio rear end that's specifically designed for a 700R4 overdrive transmission that was supposed to go in the car, Tony.
Yeah, that's a great tranny right there.
You got a lot of gears popping over here in the 6-speed. You got a lot of ratios that are totally different than a turbo 350 with overdrive, basically. Am I correct?
Yeah, the 350 doesn't have overdrive, though.
I said it's basically, that's what a 700R4 is. That's what took the place of the 350 is the 700R4. Back in the 80s, that's what took its place. What you do to hot rod it out, you take some Corvette servos, you put them in there. You get the manual shift lockout for overdrive so you don't have to have the electronic action in your dash. And you go down the road and you're having fun, Tony.
That stuff for overdrive, that's actually for torque converter lockup.
Okay, well, same thing. You get the 2100 stall torque converter, you put it in there, you lock it up when it goes in reverse and you're having fun. Am I right or wrong?
Man, they're fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
You can go, you have low gears and overdrive on the freeway. You can cruise.
That's what I'm talking about, Tony. But this guy, he wants a 6-speed. He wants this big old ugly transmission. He wants this space-age diabolical piece of shit in his car that's not even specifically designed for this action. And I called you up to see what you thought about that, Tony. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
after you hear everything.
How much horsepower is that engine making?
That engine's making 422 horsepower, Tony.
Oh, shit, that's nothing.
Exactly, Tony. That's what I'm saying.
Shit, I would get a T5 for that.
Exactly, Tony. Now, where are you located so I could tell everybody, all my buddies out there in Phoenix to come there? Are you in Phoenix?
One problem you might have is finding those T5s. They're scarce.
I can buy a brand new one. Listen to this, Tony. I can get on Speedway out there in Lincoln, Nebraska. They got a whole complete kit. A TKX brand new 5-speed with all the hookups and everything for less than $3,800, Tony.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say, yeah, but you're going to pay $4,000 for that. I remember paying...
Okay, let me ask you this, Tony. Would you rather pay $4,000 or would you rather pay $10,000 for a pile of shit that doesn't work?
I remember paying $500 for these T5s.
How old are you, Tony? You sound like an old guy.
I'm 70.
70 years old. You know about it. I used to buy junkyard cars for my junkyard for $150.
Yeah.
Get on Craigslist and see how much they want for that old junk car now. You can thank your buddy out there in Scottsdale, Barrett Jackson, for that action, Tony. Now let me ask you this, Tony. Where are you located?
Hey, did you Google me?
I sure did, but let me say here, it says that you're over in Phoenix area. You're serving the Phoenix area.
Yeah, if you Google...
Well, listen to me, Tony. I'm a worldwide guy. I got over 7,000 videos on YouTube. Do you think I'm just some guy? I'm going to do some advertising for you, Tony. People are going to be calling you. I like you, Tony.
Well, I appreciate it.
If I was closer, let me tell you what, I'd bring this piece of shit over there and let you get that thing going for me. But I can't do that, Tony. What I'm trying to say, Tony, is I want your opinion after you've heard this nightmare of a Friday the 13th story. What are you thinking of this piece of shit transmission?
Well, for sure, there's 2 other transmissions that fits in there a lot easier. That's for damn sure.
But the deal is, Tony, out in England, that's where this car's going, over to Bristol, England. People don't like automatics. The word is out there, if you have an automatic, you're a pussy. That's what, you know how it is here. Most people out here in America, they don't like standard transmissions. They'd rather have it, well, that's the reverse over there in England. That's why this guy wanted this thing.
Yeah.
So he gets this I told him, look, buddy. I said, get a 5-speed. He says, but for a few thousand more dollars, I can get this, and it's better. No, it's not. I'm the one suffering.
I'm the one having the headaches over it, not sleeping at night, you bastard. That's what I told him.
Gear ratios, if you look at the gear ratios on these 5-speeds, all three of them are the same first, second, third, and fourth gear. Just the 5-speed has one overdrive.
That's right.
It has two overdrive.
That's right, Tony. I like your theory there, but I don't understand why people don't listen to the shop owner, Tony. Why don't they listen? Tell me that, Action.
You're paying a lot of money for a half an overdrive.
That's right. So let me ask you this. Why don't people listen to the shop owner? Why do they take it into their own hands and do what they want to do when the shop owner's been in business for 67 years, Tony?
They're watching too many TV shows, those car shows.
That's right, Tony. If you were closer, I'd buy you a cup of coffee over at Denny's. Look, let me do this, Tony. Your name's Outlaw Performance Transmissions. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let me do this, Tony. Let me let you go so I can get back to work and get the theory of how this son of a bitch goes together. And if I have anybody in Phoenix call my shop, I'm going to tell them to call you.
Very good. What's your name, buddy?
My name's Cecil. And that's S-E-A-C-I-L. Just like the ocean, buddy. Let me do this. I'm going to let you go. And if I have any more questions, you're going to be the guy for me to call to get the right answers. Okay, partner? Keep my phone number. Give me a holler back later, Tony. I got to go to the bathroom.
I'm going to write you down right now.
Write me down. I drank about 6 gallons of coffee. I got to go, Tony. I drank about 6 gallons of coffee, and I'm ready to go in my bed. I got to go, buddy. Take it easy. All right, go.
Bye.
Okay, so there you go. That's the real deal right there. That's the answers we're getting on this transmission. That's the kind of talk that we're getting right here. And it's turning out to be a real eye popper is what it's doing. It's opening our eyes to say, what the hell is going on? Should we use this transmission and use it the proper way and do what we gotta do to get her done? Or should we talk the owner in to getting a TKX job, putting it in the vehicle, and getting her done and doing it right and getting it out of my friend Pete's shop? We want to get this thing out of the shop. My friend Pete is going bat wacky on it. We'll have to get my friend Pete's advice, but I was just here trying to get information for him, and that's the information. It's an eye popper situation that says, get her done and do it right. That's my opinion. Even Tony, right here, even Tony says, put the 5-speed in there, go down the road. You son of a bitch.